In the heart of Africa, where the sun dipped into the horizon and painted the sky with hues of crimson and gold, two kingdoms had been at war for what seemed like an eternity. The village of Umocha, led by the fearless king Obua, marched into battle against their neighboring kingdom, Abatu. Among the soldiers was a young man named Akudo who had recently married the love of his life, Ugoli. She was pregnant with their first child, and Akudo's heart swelled with joy and anticipation. As the war ragged on, Akudo's instincts screamed at him to survive. He hid behind a massive boulder, a big stone kind of rock, watching in horror as men lost their lives. The clash of swords, the scent of blood, and the cries of the wounded filled the air. Akudo trembled with fear, thinking of Ogoli and their unborn child. He wasn't ready to die a foolish death and leave his family behind. Meanwhile, King Ogboa fought valiantly, his sword slicing through the enemy lines. His men followed closely behind, but Akudo remained hidden, praying for the war to end. As the sun began to set, King Ogboa's army gained the upper hand. The opposing king, wounded and weakened, collapsed to the ground. In a final act of treachery, he summoned his last strength and stabbed King Ogboa in the back, ending the life of the fearless leader. The battlefield fell silent. Akudo cautiously emerged from his hiding spot. Surveying the carnage, he spotted the crown of the defeated king, glinting in the fading light. An idea formed in his mind. He picked up the crown and ran toward his village, proclaiming, "I am the only survivor. I am the only survivor. The enemy is defeated, but our king has fallen. I am the only survivor. The enemy is defeated, but our king has fallen." The villagers, weary and wounded, rejoiced at the news. They hailed Akudo as a hero, the sole survivor of the war, and the hero. With King Ogba's demise, the Council of Elders decided to crown the strongest man that went to battle and came back alone, not knowing what had happened at the background. So the Council of Elders crowned Akudo, the coward who had hidden behind the boulders, as the new king of the kingdom. Akudo ruled wisely, using his experiences to guide his people. Years rolled by, and Akudo grew old, surrounded by his children and grandchildren. He finally decided to share the truth about that fateful day with his family. Gathered in his courtyard, only his children and grandchildren, and wife, Ugoli. He sat looking at them with love, his eyes filled with love and emotions. As he was surrounded by his children and grandchildren and wife, he finally shared the truth about that fateful day. His voice trembled as he recounted his cowardice and cleverness. If I hadn't hidden, he repeated, I wouldn't be here today telling you, my children, grandchildren, and wife, this story. If I hadn't hidden, I wouldn't be here today telling you all this story. It's not the bravest who survive, but the wisest. Remember, in times of war, it's not always the heroes who make it back home, but those who survive and live to tell the tale. Do you understand me, my children and grandchildren? Remember, I say again, in times of war, it's not always the heroes who make it back home, but those who survive and live to tell the tale. Akudo's family listened in awe, their eyes filled with a mix of admiration and understanding of what their father and grandfather was saying. They saw their ancestor in a new light, a complex man who had done what he thought was necessary to ensure their existence. As the sun sets on another day in Umocha, Akudo's story became a legend, passed down through generations, a reminder that sometimes wisdom and cunning can be just as heroic as bravery. His children, grandchildren, and wife were surprised that their own father, they had been so proud of, boastfully saying it in public as the hero of the kingdom, was actually a coward. But could he be called a coward? The love for his wife and the need to procreate, to keep his ancestral home and family still existing, made him to hide behind boulders. And he came out to claim that he was the bravest and was crowned the king. So the crown and royalty following the family now was not justly merited. But who will tell the tale to the others in the kingdom? No one. It was a secret in the palace of the king, King Akudo, regarded as the warrior of his time. So, guys, thanks for listening. That's the end of the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the videos. Thanks for watching.